Hello and welcome back, guys. I know it has been a while. I haven't posted a video in a few months, but like somebody a lot wiser than me once said, if you have nothing nice to say, don't say it at all. But today is much different. Today I have a lot of really positive things to say, and I thought I might as well bring it out into the general community and have us start the discussion. I have been playing the Ivocati test flight build for 4.4. And I have noticed a few things when it comes to the weapon balance and where the game is kind of pushing to. And what I saw made me very, 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 very happy. I have been very critical on StarCitizen's combat flight model and general balance, and I guess you could say overall feel for the project. This, I think, is very well documented. I think people are very aware that I'm very critical on these things because I genuinely really like the game. I want it to be successful, and there are some clear problems with the flight model, combat system, weapon ranges, all this stuff, which is always in flux. But if we don't give CIG proper, good, objective feedback with lots of examples, then we can't expect CIG to fix them. However, it seems like all that yakking has paid off. It seems like CIG is starting to get it. So I want to, when they do something right, I've told you guys this before, when they do something right, I want to take a second to be like, look, SIG, you guys nailed this one. This is kind of what we want to see. And so today I want to talk to you guys about the completely new weapon balance that we're moving to, what this means for us, what this means for combat in StarCitizen, and what things are going to start looking like. And hopefully in the future we continue to move this direction because this is a very healthy direction, not only for multi-crew but for fighters as well. Okay, so let's first start off with the stats. What exactly is changing with weapons specifically? So as of right now in live, most weapons are sitting around the 2,500 to 3,000 meter range, which is an exceedingly long distance for combat. This causes a lot of issues. In the current build of live, having such ridiculously long ranges on fighters allows small ships to engage large ships essentially risk-free. So here we have a nice, beautiful B-roll of some paladins, which we did some testing on when the paladin was first coming out. And we noticed that this entire gang of 6 or 7 paladins died to a group of 4 gladius. None of the gladiuses died, and all 6 of the paladins were shot down, one by one. And this is because of 2 things. One, fighters can engage at long range, so you can't actually get your projectile to hit back on a big multi-crew ship. This has been the core issue of the problem when it comes to multi-crew balance. So no matter what CIG says or sees on their stats, in reality, anybody that has a modicum of training in combat and PvP is going to be able to easily kill multi-crew ships. Now, this example here that you're seeing is a fight at very close ranges, and this is kind of what CIG wants us to fight at. But the problem was, because you could engage from so far away, you never needed to take those fights. So what they've done is they've completely rechanged and retuned the weapon balance and ranges for the 4.4 ETF build. And what they've done is they've reduced ranges for all guns, size 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, to less than 1,300 meters. Size 5s sit at around 13. Size 4s probably around 1,250. Size 3s are around 1,200 to 1,300. Size 2s are around 1,000 to 1,100. And size 1s are 900 to around 1,000. With lasers only. Okay, now ballistics have a different methodology. Ballistics are anywhere from 200 to 300 meters longer range than their laser counterparts. But again, lasers take power, they build heat, but they're unlimited ammo. Okay, this caused, again, a lot of issues with the live build because you could sit at long range and engage forever, indefinitely, against a large capital target, which means even the Idris would lose to a small pack of fighters if given enough time to get there. So, with the change in weapon speeds, with the change in weapon ranges, what this is going to do is force large combat engagements to be closer together, because the only way for fighters now to engage and apply damage will be at roughly below 1200 meters, which, if you've been paying attention to stream and all the stuff here on the channel, is still within range of return fire from turreted systems. So for example, on a Polaris or an Idris or a Vanguard or even a Paladin, if you stay just above 1,000 meters, you're typically safe. No matter how much they're shooting at you, you're fine. But now it's going to force fighters to do two things. One, they're going to have to engage in a space that they can also receive damage on, which is something that I have been begging CIG to understand. And now they've done it, which is going to force fighters to do two things. One, take passes, which means they're going to engage at less than 1,000, get damage on, and when they receive damage, they're going to fly away and come around for another pass. Or they're going to have to get super, and I mean super close to the multi-crew ship, where it's almost basically sitting on top of it, and orbit the enemy ship at a range that the turrets have trouble tracking because they're just so close. So you're either going to be really, really close, or you're going to take a pass, bang, 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 take some damage, and fly away. Okay? This is exactly what I would have done if I was CIG. If you gave me the reins and said, AV1, what do we do with this? This is exactly what I would have done. Okay? It's not a perfect solution yet, and there are still problems. Okay? Turrets are still going to have some trouble because now also their ranges are reduced. So I'm going to give two solutions that CIG should think about when it comes to building on this in a good direction. Okay? As of right now, all weapons have essentially the same stats. So a Panther that's put on a Retaliator or an Idris or a multi-crew ship has the exact same stats as a Panther put on a Gladius, an Arrow, and other ships. This is a problem because the platform, like a Fury, is significantly smaller and can avoid more damage. And the Badgers that are put on a Fury do the same damage and have the same velocity that, let's say, Badgers that are put on a Connie. Now, the Connie has much less room to move, and thus we talk about the same problem we've been talking about for years now, where a smaller ship engages larger ship, and there's a kind of disbalance between risk and reward. Now, fighters cannot use turrets unless you're a specific kind of heavy fighter and vice versa, right? So what you can do, if I was CIG, is one of two things. One, make all turrets bespoke. In a sense, like we take Panthers and put them on a Connie turret. Instead, let's remove the turret entirely and replace it with a bespoke turret. So for example, let's say you created an Aegis an Aegis Dagger 3 turret or whatever it's called, right? This is just an example. And that specific Aegis turret could be fit on any turret slot on any multi-crew ship, size, 4 and above or whatever. So a Connie would instead would have this new bespoke turret, which would have unique weapons, okay? And if you make 5 or 6 of these bespoke turrets, then you can interchange those turrets between all these different multi-crew ships, but these turrets would have very specific weapons. So for example, these turrets would have different stats, their lasers would go a little farther, they'd have a little more velocity, and thus it would solve the problem of what we talked about before on this channel, the asymmetrical engagement, where light fighters and small fighters, can engage from these very long ranges. So these bespoke turrets could have different stats, which would allow them to apply damage to these smaller fighters because they'd have higher velocity, longer range. It would make it more risky for these fighters to sit at long range and try to peck away at you, because now they're going to receive higher velocity fire, effective fire, judging by the size of their ship. And the second option is you add hull bonuses, like how EVE Online did. Now, there was a rumor going around that CIG was flirting with this idea, and they may still do this. So, for example, the Hammerhead has Rhino size 4 lasers. They have the same velocity and stats that a Rhino that you put on a Buccaneer or a Talon. This is the problem because, again, it comes down to the asymmetrical engagement where smaller ship engages bigger ship, I can engage from longer range, and he can't hit me back. So what this can do is you can give a bonus to something like a Hammerhead, which says any laser weapon or laser repeater gets a 50 to 100% bonus in weapon velocity when placed on the Hammerhead, right? So there is a specific bonus to the ship hull itself, which changes the stats of the weapons that are placed on it. This, as well as the bespoke turret option, are two very realistic, very viable, and straightforward ways to fix the critical issue of StarCitizen combat. But I gotta say, folks, playing with these new ranges, playing with these new things in the 4.4 PTU has made me super, super, super excited. We are finally getting some of the issues with the flight model fixed, and it makes me very hopeful that the next iteration of the flight combat system that we've heard rumors about will also be moving in this direction, because they absolutely nailed the weapon balance. Well, they definitely went in the right direction. We're not done yet, and we got some room to improve, but it is a huge, huge, huge step up from the current system we have now in live and the current way the game plays and feels. I can't tell you much more because there is NDAs. I can't show you this in person because of the NDA restriction. However, I'm very excited, and I think you should be too. We have brighter days coming for StarCitizen, and it's all thanks to people who've been pushing this and all the fans out there coming to stream, going to Spectrum, making sure CIG hears the right feedback. So thank you so much. If you've been part of this, we couldn't do this without you. All right? So I hope to see all you folks out for the next stream. I hope to make more content on YouTube here now that things are really starting to look up. I just want to say thank you to all the people out there who've been supporting me and the rest of the guys here at AVS. We couldn't do it without you. Thank you so much. I was Avenger 1, and I'll see you next time.